So today's episode here on Scooterbuoy, East Coast, I've decided to do a little last second journey over to the Halifax Seaport Market. It's one of Canada's oldest markets. It's one of the most original markets in North America. And I know it's going to be a little odd because we're just days away from the pre-lockdown here in Nova Scotia. We prepare for another lockdown, thanks to our friend the COVID-19 virus. But I'm going to do this video anyways, and I probably won't put it out until after we come out of lockdown because I don't want to promote a lot of tourism travel in a time when we really shouldn't be roaming around the province anyways in the first place. But I thought, I'm going to put the video together and we'll see what we get and we'll go from there. Things about living in Dartmouth is that there's so much history, so many old streets, so many old buildings, so many cool places. Like here to the left, you see that old cemetery. History everywhere in this city. Halifax, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, in fact. There's just history everywhere. It's a great place to live, great place to visit. So here we are, cool, brisk morning just before the lockdown, heading for the McDonald Bridge, heading for the Seaport Market in Halifax. Remember, if you're approaching the old McDonald Bridge in the downtown or the McKay Bridge, always have that dollar on you. If you're going to go through the tolls, you need a buck or a Mac Pass, one of the two. Here too, if you look on the left and right of the bridge, I'm crossing it. On my left at the moment is the pedestrian walking area. You can actually cross the bridge by foot. To my right is a bicycle pedestrian area. Only can cross by bicycle. So you don't pay a toll to walk or ride your bike across, but it's a nice way to cross the bridge. It's actually really cool to get up here. You're almost at the peak at the moment. Another way to get across the bridge. Lots of places you can park your bike, your car, and walk across the bridge and get some great views of the harbor, both the inside and the outside of the harbor. Just something to keep in mind. So the left I'm making here is off of a street called Cornwallis, which will soon be renamed with all the removal of the bad history that's going on. The street I turned onto was North Park, but at the top of that Cornwallis Street and to the right here is a thing called the Halifax Commons. Interesting area to go to. Big park. It used to be a swamp that originally fed fresh water to the city back a couple hundred years ago, but now it's a huge area with ball diamonds. Got the O'Mara Oval on it for ice skating and we call it rollerblading in the winter and in the summer. It's all kinds of stuff going on. You see cricket games going there, big fountain, big concerts, all kinds of cool stuff hanging out there. It's a good place to go and hang out. Kind of right in the middle of the city too, so it's always an interesting place to visit. Heading up the big hill, up the Citadel Hill. Halifax's original fort, one of the places that was built initially that helped protect us from I guess there was the French back then, the British were protecting the colony from, and other things. And it's a National Historic Site, well worth the trip, well worth the climb, both by bike or by foot. It is a workout though if you decide to do it by foot. The entire hill as you go around it. Lots of things to see. You can see from forever around the city, even with all the new glass structures going up to block the view. But there's still lots to see, and it's still a really cool thing to go see if you want to learn about the history of our city and of our country. As you're coming down the hill here from Citadel Hill, you approach, I'm going to make a right-hand turn right in front of you here at the Scotiabank Centre, home of the Halifax Mooseheads. Proud junior team that's got many guys playing in the NHL now. Everyone from, I'm just going through the roster guys like Nikolai Ehlers over there in Winnipeg. You got guys like Nathan McKinnon, Jonathan Drouin, Timo Mayer, Philip Zadina, all kinds of guys playing in the NHL. It's a proud junior squad, and it functions in a great facility there with the Halifax Scotiabank Centre. It serves us well for the community. It's a great team. They're a great sponsor for many activities in the city. And if you're in town during the winter and they're playing some hockey, worth going to check out a game. To my left there in that beautiful yellow building, Woozles, one of Canada's oldest bookstores, started back October 14th, 1978 by Anne Brimmer and Liz and Brian Crocker. Liz, still close friends with Liz, spectacular woman, so involved in the community, and Woozles is an absolute destination. If you're in town and you need anything book related for kids, some toys, the whole bang, you gotta go see them. Absolutely worth the visit. And I can't say enough about the store. It's one of my most favorite places to go, and I'm 55 years old, and I'll still hang out there, just because it's the options they have to get gifts for kids and for family and whatnot are just great. 1533 Birmingham Street. For now, talk about moving, so don't miss them. actually going through the dockyards here, heading past the Halifax Seaport Market before I actually went this morning. I'm going to take you for a big loop out past the dockyards, the big container port out to Point Pleasant. Going to go visit my wife's alma mater at St. Mary's University, and then I'll swing on back past the end of the train system here in Ontario, in Canada actually, at the Nova Scotia Westin Hotel, and then I'm going to swing into the market at that point. But I just want to go for a little cruise. Why? Because I can, because it's beautiful to always tour around our city. So as I exit the dockyards here, I'm going to turn left, and this is the road that takes you down into the parking lot area, the lower part of what we call Point Pleasant Park. A little history on the park: 75 acres of wooded land, almost 40 kilometers of winding trails. Many of them are accessible for wheelchairs. It's totally free. You can wander the grounds. There's even a theater company there, Shakespeare by the Sea, that performs there in the summer, all outside. It's really, really kind of cool. We actually rent the site from the British government for $1 shilling a year, 10 cents, 999 year lease. What a bargain. Can't get land any cheaper than that anywhere in Canada, I'll tell you right now. Anyway, it's got washrooms, got the off-leash areas for dogs, got on-leash area for dogs, got lots of walking areas, lots of stuff going on, lots of parking. And there's a couple of sites there for Memorial Day, Remembrance Day we use for remembering our Navy and our long tradition of military service in the city. One of the first places I discovered once I arrived in Halifax, I was out walking around and I came across this Point Pleasant Park place. And here I am, parking the bike down by the parking area. This is the lower part of the park. From here you can see the docklands, the giant cranes that unload, the giant. We can now do the world's biggest container ships we now take on there. You can see the entrance to the outer harbor here, right in front of you, and to the right. You go out to the Atlantic Ocean. I used to come out here a lot at first before I found something to do with myself. And it would just take a lot of time to sit and think. And it's one of those places where it's just easy to sit and think. Even here on my bike, on a day like this, it's cool, it was brisk, it was busy down there, but it was still easy on the mind. Anytime I sit by the water, especially in Halifax with all the beaches and waterfront areas, I always kind of get into a bit of a meditative state. And one of the things that first struck me was a teaching from Buddha that said, learn this from the water. Loud splashes the brook, the ocean's depths are calm. And to me, that's what water represents, that big, calm place for my mind just to go and rest. That's why I love being in Halifax and in Nova Scotia. Just so many places to go and do that. The whole time since I've been leaving the bottom end of the park there with the parking lot, I've been driving, and on my left you've seen nothing but park. That's all Point Pleasant Park. And you're actually on Point Pleasant Road when you leave the lower parking lot in the lower part near the harbor. And you travel up here, and when you get to the top of this hill, there's a little parking lot I'm going to turn into. More parking. And it's some of the areas where you're right at the top of the paths if you want to take the dog for a walk on and off leash, which is really kind of cool. As I make this right-hand turn into the lot, just wanted to show off. Lived here for a little over a year and a bit. I first came to Halifax with Scooterbuoy. This is Loyola residence at St. Mary's University. My wife graduated there with a degree in psychology and a side in HR. Proof that she's way smarter than I am on any given day. So at the bottom of that one road there, as I was following the bus, I was coming off of what's called English Street, and now I'm on Barrington, and I'm about to kind of close the loop as I head right back into the Halifax Farmers Market, Seaport Market area. So as I do that, I have to go past two things one more time, and that is the terminus, the end of the rail line here in Nova Scotia and Canada, in fact. You'll see it pop up here in a second. It's right. It's the low-rise white building here, off to my right. Right behind it is the Westin Nova Scotia. Very classy, very expensive hotel attached to the train station there. But it might be pricey, but it's always worth a good stay. Great restaurants on site. And you're walking distance to everything downtown, whatever it is you want to see in Halifax. One of the best things about the Seaport Market, see all that parking there? A huge lot. It's all free on Saturdays for the market, so you can pull in here anywhere. find yourself a parking spot, wandering in. So here I am, arriving, time to get my food on. Here I am entering the new location, the recently relocated Halifax Seaport Farmers Market. First opened June 1750. Think about that. A market that's been around for that long in anywhere in the world, other than old country, Middle East, Europe. Here in North America, that's a treat. You can see here they were getting set up here for the social distancing to make sure they could still stay open during the lockdown phases. They were keeping us good and safe, keeping us all flowing in one direction. And as always, the Seaport Market, as with almost any market in Nova Scotia, endless supply of local fruit, local vegetables, great people with bakers and bakeries, and then an endless supply of liquors and beer, craft breweries everywhere. This province is an abundance of everything from A to Z when it comes to food and drink. Any market, anywhere is worth going to. The Seaport Market was the first one I discovered coming here to Nova Scotia. It's always been a kind of a home base for me when I do go out and look for my local food. So, the bike is full, can't carry much more, need a sidecar if I'm gonna. Time to head home, time to leave Halifax, time to head back across the bridge, time to get back to Dartmouth. Along the way though here, I'm gonna take you through the downtown, through what's called Lower Water Street, which is right along the waterfront here in the harbour area of downtown Halifax, past the Discovery Centre, all the new construction and high-rises going up, all the new condos and all the new residences going on along the way there. And then I'm gonna take you through what's called the Cogswell Exchange, which next couple of years will be gone. They're tearing it down. They're going to redesign it, put in some new buildings, some new housing, a whole new way of getting through that area. And then the last thing we'll see here before we hit the bridge on the right eventually will be the Royal Naval Dockyard. Like the sign says right there on my right, that's the Halifax Her Majesty's Canadian Dockyard, HMC Dockyard Halifax, home to the eastern coast of the Naval Defense Systems. been ours since we bought it from the British government in 1906. It's also famous unfortunate things such as the explosion of 1917. There's been the Bedford explosion out there in 19 during 43 when the armory exploded in the basin. So it's a historied, honored, privileged place to have near us. So many great people there, and they're military, so they're all great people to deal with, and they add so much to our local economy and vibrancy here. Well, I'm almost home. That's the end of my first video today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope there was some stuff to show. You learned some things. You enjoyed what you saw. And if you want to know more, feel free to let me know. I'll try and share with you down the road. Stay tuned. Like and subscribe. And keep an eye on the channel. More things coming down the road for Scooterbuoy East Coast.